You probably think all the top lifters have already made their way to Powerlifting America, but there are actually still a few left who are only now making that transition. These are 7 lifters who have finally seen the light and are leaving the sinking ship that is the USAPL, with some of them even threatening for world records. So first up, probably the most exciting example of this is Jayden Lowe, the 83 kilo lifter who posted up 845.5 at USAPL College and Nationals this year. You can see the lifts play out here. Elbow depth for days on this bench press, but 845.5, not that long ago, that would have been up there with the biggest 83 kilo totals in the world. Now we have quite a few who are above that in the 860s, 870s, even higher than that, but still 845.5 is right there, and he's got a monster deadlift, 800 pounds. You see him pull there pretty easily as well. He's only, I think, 20 years old too, so he's super young. And he also won Raw Nationals in the 82.5s in the USAPL this year, winning Best Lifter. And amongst the 83s, he ranks in 8th. He is the 8th strongest currently active 83 kilo lifter in the world, which is crazy with 845.5. But that's how much the class has leveled up. And he is the youngest on that list by quite a long ways as well. Well, I mean, Joey B is obviously still young too, but could Jayden Lowe be Joey B's biggest threat coming up? I mean, you've got some veterans on his tail. Taylor Atwood, Jones Kingami, of course, Ade is there as well. But, man, Jayden Lowe, I wouldn't be surprised if next time we see him compete, he adds 10, 20, maybe even more kilos on his already elite total. Speaking of when he's next going to compete, he's confirmed to be competing at SBD Austin, so not that long away, under 2 weeks out, and we're going to see him take to the Powerlifting America platform and see what he can do. And next up, we have Christiane Hazzard, who is a 63 kilo lifter and posted up 525 at Raw Nationals this year on her way to, of course, winning the class and winning also Best Lifter. She competed in the 65 kilo weight class, but she weighed in at 63. So credit to her for weighing in at the real weight class, not the fake one. But yeah, 525 is a crazy total for a 63. And just like Jayden Lowe, she did win Best Lifter overall at Raw Nationals, best female lifter. And that makes her the 5th strongest active 63 in the world. The 63s are quite stacked, especially with that top 3. The rivalry we have between Meg Scanlon, Abba Bostrom, and Chiara Bernardi. We saw at Worlds how back and forth that was and how any one of them could have ended up winning on that day. Plus, Leah Bavois is apparently coming back as a 63 as well. So just to add to that, but Christiane Hazzard is right outside those big 4 names, and there is a bit of a spread there, 30 kilo spread, but exciting to see how much of that she's going to be able to make up. And just like Jayden Lowe, she is confirmed for SBD Austin in 2 weeks' time, so we're going to see her take to the Powerlifting America platform in 2 weeks against some of the best in the world, Meg Scanlon included. Alright, next up, Justin Osano, a 74 kilo lifter. 760 kilos is his best ever performance. This was actually done in 2023, USAPL Arnold meet. And he did this weighing 74.5. Obviously, the USAPL have the 75 kilo weight class instead of 74s. So he did this half a kilo over the 74s. However, he did compete at a Powerlifting America meet. You can see him there. He deadlifted 300, which is his best ever pull at that meet. And he actually totaled 752.5 on that day as a proper 74. So only 7.5 under his best ever performance. And by all intents and purposes, that was a tune-up meet because we have seen him total 800 kilos in the gym. This was at the tail end of last year, I believe. And you can see his lifts there. All of these are quite a bit above his best competition lifts. I don't know what his body weight was at in each one of these. But an 800 kilo gym total for a 74 is right up there. Obviously, we have a few freaks in 74s who are above 800. But aside from that, there's not that many of them. And I'll show you in the rankings where exactly he lands there. But if he can take that or even close to those numbers on the platform, that could be another 74 contender in America emerging. So you can see the rankings there. He is the 10th strongest active 74. He's in italics because, like I said, that 760 was done weighing in above 74. So if we take his 752.5 that he did as 74, he's actually outside the top 10. but I'm giving the benefit of the doubt. So you can see there you have the top 4, Perk, Ilya, Shell, and Elliot Sykes all above 800. But everyone else is sort of in closer to the mid to sort of high 7s. And Justin Osano could be cracking the top 5 in that division. When is he competing? Well, after doing that tune-up meet and doing very well, he is qualified for Powerlifting America Nationals Open Nats next year in March. And like I said, we're going to see him against Elliot Sykes, presumably who's going to be there. I don't know if Perk's going to be there, but we are going to see him at PA Nationals next year. All right, next up, back to the women. Leanne Lee, 47 lifter, and advances Houston, which was her Powerlifting America debut. She had a fantastic day, going 9 for 9. You can see her lifts here, all of which were PBs, and she landed with a 422.5 kilo total, which is huge for a 47, and right up there with the best in the world, including this huge big deadlift that she stood up with fright-eating speed, locking up 422.5. And in the gym, she has kind of sort of pulled 200 with straps, and that you can see the super wide stance. She looked like she rolled her ankles on that. Didn't lock it out for very long. But based on how easy 187.5 was on the platform, I don't think an extra 12.5 is that much of a stretch based on how strong she is now. So if you add those kilos to a total, that gives her a theoretical 435, which happens to be the biggest 47 total right now. So Leanne Lee is actually the 4th strongest active 47 in the world. Obviously, you have Heather Connor, Tiffany Chapone, and Jess Espinal above her, all in the 430s. And it's also worth mentioning that Tiffany Chapone, in her last 2 meets at World Games and Silent Worker, she weighed in slightly above 47 for both those, and she totaled 450 at both of them. So I anticipate Heather v. Tiff at Sheffield is going to push the 47s into the 450s with one or both of them in that mark. However, Leanne Lee, with that crazy big final deadlift and quick final deadlift, as well as that huge training potential that she has, or training pool potential, I think it's not very long until she's in the 430s as well. And presumably she's going to be competing at PNATs. I don't think she's announced it, but I don't see any reason why she wouldn't. And if we do see Jess Espinal back there again as well as potentially Heather Connor if she follows up her Sheffield performance, based on how that goes, that could be an absolutely titanic clash in the 47s in March next year. And next up, we have Jalen Faulk, another very young, promising lifter in the 105s. You can see his best lifts there, 315. He has done that on platform as well. It's just him doing it in training. And a 225 bench. So he actually recently competed in his first Powerlifting America meet at the Rising Tide meet, where he did that 225 bench and this absolutely monstrous 382.5 deadlift. One of the biggest 105 deadlifts we've ever seen. He's definitely a deadlift specialist. Looked like he might have had a few more kilos in there too. Huge pull. 912.5 was the total that he hit at Rising Tide. And he's also benched more in training with 230 kilos. So that would give him 917.5 with those theoretical kilos. And you can see where that ranks him. That makes him the 9th strongest active 105 in the world right now. So obviously you have those couple Americans at the top who are quite a ways above. And then you have those Europeans sort of in the closer to the low 900s. Jalen Faulk is right there. And again, similar to Jayden Lowe, he's also very young. He's in his early 20s. And he's got a ton of upside to him. And with that huge pull in, just a year or even less than a year, he could be a serious threat to those top few guys in America. So where's he competing next? I don't know if he's going to do Open Nationals. I know he mentioned that he wants to do Junior Worlds and go through that avenue. So presumably he's going to be competing at Junior Nationals to qualify for Junior Worlds, which will be later on next year. But potentially we could see him at Open Nationals, if he wants to test himself there against the likes of Ashton Ruska, Keenan Lee, Anthony McNaughton, and the absolute killers that are the American 105s, Michael Davis, then that would be pretty cool to see. But otherwise, we're going to see him at PA Age Division Nationals, whenever that is, and presumably at Junior Worlds next year. All right, bench press fans, you're going to like this one. Joseph Amendola. Joseph Amendola is someone who hasn't been competing in the last few years, but talk about a bench press specialist. So his best numbers actually came 4 years ago now, at the 2021 Virginia Pro, where you can see those numbers there. 265 bench is huge. This guy's one of the strongest benches to ever live, and I'll show you in a second how that compares to the IPF world records in the 105s and 120s, which are the two weight classes he's competed in. But yeah, he totaled over 2,000 pounds, 907.5 kilos at that meet in 2021. And since then, he hasn't competed all that much until now, because he's finally back. And his best ever bench, his lifetime best bench a couple of years ago, 281. That is a huge bench. It's not often you see a tested athlete shifting 281 kilos, let alone someone who's not even a super heavyweight, let alone someone who's a 105, not even a 120. Although Joseph has competed in both, to be fair. But yeah, if you add the spherical kilos, 923.5 is where he would land, which in the 105s, as I showed you with the previous ranking with Jalen Faulk, that puts him right in the mix if he can replicate that. But like I said, he's recently coming back. So this is him recently benching 270-ish kilos in the gym. And in terms of the 105 bench press world record, Anthony McNaughton holds that in a full power meet, 250.5. Joseph Amendola has done almost 15 kilos above that, right? And there he is benching 600 pounds just recently. So he's coming back to top form. And in the 120s, he's got the second biggest full power meet bench, only half a kilo behind Devin Williams' official world record. Obviously, Rondell Hunt now holds the bench only world record with 266, although this is in full power meet rankings. I was looking at this. But yeah, Joseph Amendola is the strongest 105 bencher, period, and potentially even the strongest 120 bencher. And keep in mind, he was doing this 4 years ago, so back then he definitely was the best bencher. Now there's a few who have caught up and closed the gap, but he's right there. When is he competing next? PA Nats next year. So he actually did do a Powerlifting America meet in October this year, took it relatively easy and light, just did what he needed to do to qualify for nationals next year. He totaled 815, which is obviously far below what he can do. Super easy lifts, but yeah, he's qualified for nationals and he's confirmed he will be doing it. And I cannot wait to see him compete there in the 105s, presumably. But, you know, obviously his total is going to be interesting. But man, just for that bench press alone, it is good to have him finally back competing. And the last lifter, the seventh and final lifter making the transition across from the USAPL to Powerlifting America is Joshua Hall. Now, this is another 105 lifter who, unlike Amendola and Jalen Faulk, isn't necessarily as big of a threat when it comes to total. He is a deadlift demon, this guy. I'm about to show you his pull, 383.5. So this is what he pulled at USAPL Raw Nationals this year on his way to clinching third place. And my God, that is obviously an American record deadlift, hence the chip. 868.5 total-wise doesn't necessarily put him in the mix for the top 105 lifters in the world, not yet anyway. I mean, subtotal, especially his bench, needs some improving before he gets to that. But that deadlift is world-class. And by world-class, I mean it is the third biggest 105 deadlift we have ever seen. So obviously, Krzysztof Rzybicki, 400. Sanchez Dillon, also 400. He's pulled more, weighing above 105, and he's recently actually pulled 410 in the gym. So I think it's a matter of time before Sanchez Dillon exceeds 400 and takes that top spot officially. But yeah, Josh Hall, 383.5, is the third biggest deadlifter ever, ahead of Ashton Rusko, who used to hold that American record, and Jalen Faulk, who himself is right there, just a kilo behind Josh in that fifth spot. Like I said, I think Sanchez Dillon, who is of course the official IPF world record holder with 400, because Krzysztof Rzybicki did it in a Polish meet, not in the IPF, or not in an international meet. Joshua Hall is, you know, can he beat Sanchez Dillon's deadlift? I don't think so. I think Sanchez Dillon is going to take that top spot and make it undisputed very, very soon. But yeah, Josh Hall is right there, and I cannot wait to see that monster pull in Powerlifting America, which is also going to be happening in 2 weeks' time at SBD Austin. Now, Josh Hall is not competing in the so-called primetime session, so he's not one of the 12 main male lifters who are going to be competing to see who can break the national record by the most, but he is going to be competing in SBD Austin. So we're going to see potentially an absolute monster pull and see what he can do on that Powerlifting America stage. So there you go. Those are 7 lifters who are leaving the USAPL behind, have seen the light, coming across to Powerlifting America. Let me know what you think and how well you think these guys are going to do in the IPF.